All right, welcome to the 45th Spot podcast. Here we ain't no amateurs, we are the best of the best. And today I have a special guest here with me, Dylan Beard. This is definitely a exciting one for me just because he's my former teammate. We were former teammates back in the day. Okay, so I'm gonna have him introduce himself and then we're gonna get right into it.
Okay, my name is Dylan Beard, second year professional for the United States, sponsored by Walmart. I'm a 110-meter hurdler, track and field. I graduated from Howard University with a master's degree in public health and then a biochemistry degree from Hampton University. And then me and Adia went to school at Wagner College.
Awesome. I appreciate that. Like I said, I'm super excited. We were teammates back in the day, back at Wagner. Um, so he did mention what schools he graduated from and also the majors. So, can you tell us, at least we're going to rewind the hands of time just a little bit, just a tad.
Okay.
So, when you were doing track and field at your previous schools, were you strictly a hurdler or did you like dibble dabble into other events?
Oh, that's a good question. In my point of view and everyone else's point of view, I was strictly a hurdler, but I do, indoors, I do the 60, the 200. I think once at Wagner, I was in a 4x4 and they said, we're not doing that again. And then, and then in the outdoor season, I do like a maybe one or two 100s and two 200s and would be a part of the 4x1 relay. But I was strictly hurdles. That's what I did every meet. The other events were just for like training purposes. And then that kind of rolled on at Hampton. I do like the 400 hurdles, the 100 like once or twice a year, but nothing serious like the hurdles. And at Howard, I was strictly a hurdler.
Got
He
it.
saw
So
that.
they
He said,
got
"You're
it.
a
They
hurdler."
got it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they got it.
All right. So what got you into hurdling? Like, did your coach just throw you in there? Were you like, Coach, this is an event that I want to try? Like, how did that go?
Yeah, so my sophomore year of high school, I go to the track and field tryouts. First time doing track and field, and I make the team. He's second day of practice. He's like, "Hey, we need some hurdlers. All you guys, come over here. Just jump over the hurdle as high as you can." And he was like, "I was one of the people who could jump over it pretty high." He said, "We'll fix everything else. We just need to know you can get over it." And we stuck through it since.
Okay,
We're
so
here now.
yeah, shout out to your high school coach. Look at you now. Awesome.
Yeah.
So my next question is, what were your accomplishments both academically and athletically while you were in college? Just because I want my viewers and my athletes to know, like, this is not just a podcast strictly on athletics. I want them to know, like, you gotta keep focused in the books.
Academically, going into Wagner, my I guess first 2 years of college, I was at Wagner College. I got a presidential scholarship, academic scholarship. I think about $20,000 towards tuition, and that was it. Academically at Wagner, athletically had an athletic scholarship as well, and then I went to Hampton University. I was on the dean list. I think 5 of the 6 semesters I was there, or student athlete dean list or dean's list, however you want to call it. But I was on the
Hmm.
dean's list. Missed it one semester. It's a little rough,
Yeah.
and I think I graduated with a like 3.3. I don't know if that's anything. We didn't even have a graduation at first. And then I went to Howard.
Hmm.
I think I was on the dean's list at Howard too. That was pretty much I got my first 4.0 at Howard.
Okay.
I'm gonna add that in there, first 4.0
Yes,
as a grad student.
absolutely.
And those are really my academic. I'm pretty sure there's a bunch more, but right now it's just, when I finished with academics, I was finished with academics. But
Yeah, understood.
uh, athletically though, my my freshman year at Wagner, I won the 60-meter hurdles my freshman and sophomore year. Freshman year, I had the meet record. Even in high school, I had a meet record at a championship meet. I don't think I have it anymore. I don't think I have it at Wagner anymore now I think about it, but school record at Wagner in the 60-meter hurdles and the 110-meter hurdles. Um, two two-time IC4A 60-meter hurdle champion, and then I think I had a silver medal one time too.
Hmm.
Then I went to Hampton University, two-time Big South 60-meter hurdle champion. Um, what else did I do there? I think three-time regional participant, if that's even a you know,
Yeah, it's a thing. It's a thing.
it,
Qualifier for sure. You're gonna throw that in there. Qualifier for sure.
and then no records at Hampton. Went to Howard. Broke David Oliver's 110-meter hurdle record.
Wow.
Uh,
Was he upset?
no, he at first I tied it, so he was real cool. I mean, he's like that. He's like that's a good run. Then I broke it the
Hmm.
following year. He was pretty cool about it. He's like, it was actually funny when I went to that meet and I broke it. I wasn't even worried about breaking the record. I was like, dang, I ran my fastest time and still lost, and I was
I mean,
so
yeah.
upset with myself.
Yeah.
He said, well, he said at least you got the school record win legal now. I was like, all right, we left here with something. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah. Definitely understood.
Um, and then I was part of a 4x1. I got a gold medal at the MEAC. Oh, two-time 110 hurdle MEAC champ, and then 4x1 champ in the MEAC as well. So
Got
those are
it.
my athletic accomplishments.
Hmm.
At least in college.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Don't worry. We're gonna get to the pro questions right now. But
right.
that's a whole bunch of accolades. I love to hear it because you definitely just watching you compete and just have that hunger to want more and just like also be humble with it too. So now we're gonna roll into the real deal questions. We come into the present. So what made you want to take your sport to the next level?
I mean, I've always wanted to take sports to the next level. I thought it would be football or baseball. Football didn't work out past high school or even at high school. In baseball, I just wasn't feeling the love for it anymore. So track and field was the only sport that was giving me love, as a 10th grader to now. And I think my junior year, junior year when I kind of broke out a little bit, I was like, oh yeah, I could probably do this in college. Or someone told me I could do this in college. And I started thinking like, okay, we can do it in college. You can do it as a professional. Um, I've always wanted to be a professional athlete. And then as I got closer to, college, getting faster and faster, I was like, oh, I definitely want to be a professional athlete in track and field. Definitely. It was during COVID though. I was like, when I wasn't even in school running, I was looking to transfer. I was like, I gotta get back in school. And I remember David Oliver asked me, he said, well, why do you want to run? What, you've already been out for like a year or two. Why do you want to run? I was like, I got unfinished business on the track. I want to take this professionally if I can. He's like, okay, cool. That was it. I don't know if he thought I was playing, but that was, that's why I even got back into running. If it was strictly to be in college, a college athlete, I'd have been like, all right, COVID, said I was done running, so I'm done running.
Got it. Okay. Shout out to coach and just having that mindset for sure. Like I definitely can understand like going away from it for so long, being put on pause, and then it's like you said, you had unfinished business. You still have unfinished business for
I still have
sure.
unfinished business. That's the crazy
So
part.
yeah. So the next question is, what are the difficulties of being a pro athlete? Because like you said, taking that jump from being in college to being a pro, like in college, you have, transportation already taken care of, food already taken care of. Now you're on your own. What are the difficulties going from that level to being a pro?
Honestly, it's probably maybe three things I can think of. One, the finances. And you know what you got to do. You know what you got to do. You got to get on a plane. You got to get on a bus. You got to drive to go to a meet. It's standard protocol. You did that in college. You did that before college. Being able to pay for it. Being able to, I came out of college, no sponsorship, no anything. It was just like, okay, I'm gonna have to work for this guy. Got a full-time job to make ends meet so that I could, travel and go to the meets. Finances is one to support, not even just travel and food, but physical therapy, massages, even mental health if that's, something we need, something I needed, something in general. When that brings me to my second point is the mental aspect of it. Now you're switching your whole world around to where you're in a team environment, surrounded by people who may have similar or different goals, but you still got a team. Now it's just you. You're the only one really accountable for yourself. You're the only one doing it for yourself. Track's already individual sport, so now it's like you're really doing it for yourself. And sometimes if you don't have that good community around you, it gets harder to keep pushing yourself, especially on the bad days. And then that third one kind of ties into the last one too. It's just like mean, how bad do you want it? Like, do you want to be, do you want to be good enough? Do you want to be average? Do you want to be among the best? It's just like, I think, at the professional stage, because there's nothing above it, you kind of just sit in it. If you don't really know what your goals are going into it or figure out your goals, it's kind of just like, why are you doing this? What is your purpose? Like, are you here just to say you did it? Are you here, you want to, get some championships, some medals, some, perspective with your sport, but, you know, are you, just want to see what you can do? You just figuring out your goals if you don't have them in mind already. Um, I'm sure there's more other things, but those are the things that attack me: financials, your mental, and mental capacity and everything. You're doing it a different environment, and then just your why.
Got it. I think I love that question that you posed is how bad do you want it? Because I feel like even in high school athletics, because I do coach high school athletes, and it's
Shout
like
out to you, coach.
I've been able to compete in college, and then also I have my little couple meets after college, and it was really like, how bad do you want this thing? Like, how bad do you want the scholarship? How bad do you want to win? How bad do you want to come in first? How bad do you want to be? Even at practice, like being the first person across the finish line every single rep. Like, how bad do you want it? So I think that anyone listening can take that question and just apply it to yourself, whether they're in track and field, football, baseball, hockey, whoever, like, and just in life, that they can take that and apply it to their life as well. Like, how bad do you want this job? How bad do you want a new car or something? So I really like that question. Those three things also flow into how do you bounce back after a bad race or a bad performance, because sometimes it may not be too bad, it might be okay, but how do you bounce back from that?
You know, it's gonna sound crazy. The bad performances, I don't know. Hmm. Because like you said, there's some bad races, and then there's just some bad performances, right?
Yeah.
You have a bad race, it's like that was bad. You have a bad performance, it's just like, jeez, like you just didn't go your way at all.
Yeah.
And they both sting though, but bad performances, I don't know. It does take a while to bounce back. I mean, that's just, I think that comes back to having good community, because it's if you're just soaking in it yourself or going through it yourself, it's going to be tough regardless.
Yeah.
Me personally, I go to God. I would be like, man, why I had to be like that? But no, legitimately talk to God. Read the Bible, read it before and after races, read it every day, really. But
Yeah.
after a bad performance, and it's like, well, I'm feeling this, and that's another thing too. Bad performance, you just gotta sit in it for a little bit. You gotta feel it. You gotta be like, express it within yourself and understand like what happened, what went wrong. And then that's when I go to God after that, like get into the Bible, pray, and I get better for Monday. Whenever that next practice is, get better, get right, talk to coach, see how to bounce back and
Hmm.
figure it out from there.
That's real. I love that, especially for my high school athletes. Again, I'm shouting y'all out, high school athletes, because I feel like nowadays they're so hard on themselves, and it's like it's one race. Obviously on the pro level, it's a little bit more at years. There's a little bit more at stake, but in terms of high school and college, you have room to mess up. It's like, okay, this happened on Saturday, or this happened on Friday. All right, on Monday, back to the drawing board. But like you said, sit in it and process it, and then like, how can we get better? How can we make this better? I love that. You just drop in gems. I love it. I love it. I love it. So now on a more lighter note, what is your favorite memory so far while being a pro athlete?
For memory, for memory is um, I'm not gonna lie to you, Adia, I probably got like, for what, being in here for like a year and a half, I probably have a bunch of great memories. But my favorite memory, I don't know. Probably the big one, right? The big one that got me everything, right? Milrose 2024, first first professional race, first win as a professional, doing it in a very fashionable way, getting a yeah, facility record, and beating all the guys who are the greats in this sport, great in my opinion. That's probably, and it wasn't necessarily like the race itself because I don't even remember the race. I just remember set this weird sounding gun and I just went, and it
Okay.
was probably the interviews afterwards. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, these people want to talk to me. They want to talk to me. I was like, I ain't did nothing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? But probably the interviews after that first race, I was just like, okay. And a lot of people telling me at that point it's gonna get a lot better. Probably one of my favorite memories.
Got it, got it, got it. Yeah, you're just that guy now. Like you're just doing the thing. You're doing your thing, and I love that. I love that. So, what do you think you've learned about yourself through competing? This is a real one. This is a
Mm.
real question. What do you think you've learned about yourself through competing?
Probably quite a few things. Um, no matter what race, there's still that like, and being an athlete, I'm sure every athlete knows, it's like that like thing in your chest is just like, I'm not scared, but I'm like, we about to race in a minute, like, or
Hmm.
about to, yeah, doesn't go away, doesn't go away, and I've actually embraced it now. Like that feeling, it just shows that like, okay, I really care what I'm about to do. Like, you ever like do something you like, I don't care what happens, the outcome. You have no fear, no thing out coming out your body like, oh, something's happening. It's just like, no, it means I care. I'm still invested in the sport, and yeah, I mean that's it. So another thing I've learned is like, your on the track, weaknesses and strength on the track actually reflect, outside of life. Yeah, like I
Ooh,
mean,
that's
I'm
a
not
good
gonna say
one.
I realized that, but through some what sports psych, he was explaining to me. He's like, what are your strengths and weaknesses? I was like, well, this, that, the third. And I was like, yeah. And he was like, yeah, that's. He's like, no, look at your life. How does it, correlate? I'm like,
Wow.
okay. And then it also, shows me where I need to build. Not even on the track, just off in life. Like I know the areas in my life where I need to grow. I need to either dial back a little bit or go a little stronger. Um, and I mean, as everybody knows, track and field or sports is it's a mental game. When you're
Yes.
mentally good, mentally locked in, it's just like everything works out. Everything works out when you're good up here, mentally locked in. Physical, you do the physical. You what 3 months before you even start the competing. You know you're going to be good.
Yeah.
Crossing out injuries or anything. But the mental, you got to always build on it. Always be ready. Always stay sharp, and never doubt yourself. And then I mean that comes to seeing a sports psych or regular psych uh, definitely helped me in my game.
Got it. Well, thank you so much. That's a gem. Another gem by
Another
Dylan. I
gym.
appreciate that. But that's real because pressure makes diamond. If you really don't care, then, and if you're not having fun, like, what are you doing?
Yeah, why are we out here?
Literally, why are we out here? Let's pack it up. But so we have I have a couple more questions
Yeah, throw
left to
them at me.
ask, and then we'll wrap this up. If let's do this one. What is the most underrated part of your training?
Of my,
Training. What is the most underrated part of your training?
oof, underrated. So like underrated, like it doesn't get enough love, but it's pretty crucial.
Pretty important.
I don't know. Like I've moved from like right now this year, I've been going on a approach of technique instead of speed. 1 or 2 days out the week. I only hurdle 3 days a week. So 1 or 2 days, it literally will be like form runs, form techniques over the hurdles, and that has made all the difference.
Mm,
I don't clatter as many hurdles. Well, my last race, I hit all of them basically, but don't hit as many hurdles as I did before. I'm a lot cleaner. Form's looking a lot better. Definitely, definitely something people say, "What's up, man?" Uh, looks better, but it's just like it takes a lot to even try to make it look decent or a little better.
got it. Okay. So, if you could advise someone who wants to be a pro athlete in your sport or another sport, what would you say to them?
Be realistic
Okay.
with your ability, but no. I would say, I mean, like I said before, figure out your why you want to do it, how far. Figure out your goals, your why and your goals. If you can, you know, get all your goals in, 1 or 2 years as a pro, there's no need to do 20 years. You know what I mean? Unless, the pay is good. But,
Yeah.
figure out your why, figure out your goals, surround yourself with good community. That's probably the biggest one. Good community. If you surround yourself with good community the days you're feeling off, you're feeling sluggish, you're like feeling unmotivated, that's when community comes around and brings you up. It's almost like, you can not quote unquote take a day off, but when you're not feeling like you're having the best day, that's when community shows up and they bring you back together, piece you together. And then stay consistent, not one race, competition, score. It doesn't, they always say it doesn't define you. It's just a piece of you, but
Hmm.
it all molds you into who you are in the present. So I mean, take the losses to the chin, take the wins humbly, and you actually have to grind. Like that, all that stuff is important, but you actually do have to grind.
Yeah.
Like put in the work because you will get exposed.
Oh
You
gosh,
will get exposed. You will get
that's
exposed,
honest.
but
That's honest.
if you want to be a pro, you got to do what the pros do. Train, take the rest you need when you need it, but train, 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 and just keep doing what you're doing. If you just see it as the next level, Pee Wee, middle school, high school, college, it's just the next step.
Hmm.
You just do what you did, and then you just add a little more, and listen to coach. That's
Yeah.
probably the biggest one. Listen to coach.
Okay. Awesome. So, last question is, what are your goals for the upcoming year in and or out of your sport?
Ooh, in and out of my sport.
It could be either or. Either or. So it's up to you.
Okay, in and out of my sport. In and out of my sport. In and out of my sport. Okay, okay. It kind of relates to my sport, but yeah, I guess it relates to sport. I would definitely want to get a shoe contract this year. That is a big goal of mine. That is the whole reason why I'm doing a million races out here, flying everywhere, doing every competition. I mean, I like to run. I do like to run. Love it. Love competing. Love to get many races and just to know that I know what I'm doing. But I want to put myself out there, be known, get some big wins if I can, and like let these shoe companies know, like, I want a shoe deal and I need a shoe deal. So that's a
Yeah.
goal of mine. Get a shoe sponsor this year and go from there.
Awesome. Okay. Awesome. 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 So, Dylan, I appreciate you getting on the podcast. But before we head out, do you want to shout yourself out on any, social media platforms?
Yeah, y'all can follow me on Instagram, D Dylan. That's THEE_DYLAN. I have a Twitter, but I don't use it. I don't even know the name on there. But you find me, follow me, and I'll accept that request. Don't use TikTok. Don't even know my name on TikTok. But you know, just follow me if you can. I'll get to you at some point.
All right. So, guys, thank you so much for listening, watching, tuning in. Please share it to all your family, your friends, mostly the athletes, because this podcast is here to put you guys on. Like I said, appreciate you for tuning in. Follow us on Instagram at the 45th Spot Podcast, also on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. We are